My name is Mark Tate, and I am the Bundu Basher. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Bundu Basher. I hope you're all doing well. In South Africa it's Youth Day, so it's a public holiday, so hope you're enjoying your public holiday. This is the second live stream we're having of these little barn owls. Thank you to everyone who tuned into the previous stream on Saturday. I really appreciated your comments and your questions, and I hope that you're back today to ask more questions or give more comments, or just to watch these little owls. I will be streaming every Saturday, Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from 2 until 4 in the afternoon. That's South African time. So please do tune in. It'll always be on the Bundu Basher channel. While you're at it, please subscribe to the Bundu Basher and click that little notifications bell next to the subscribe button so that you get notifications. And there's a whole bunch of other videos on my channel, so please go check them out. So today we're going to be watching these owls again, and I'm going to be feeding them, as I will with every stream. I'll also show you a video of what my setup looks like here, so you can see it is a very, very cold day in Johannesburg, and it has been raining a bit, so I've got a slightly different setup today, and I'm hoping the rain doesn't come down hard. It's not raining at the moment, but it has been, and it is quite wet. So I'm just going to show you a video a bit later on of my setup and how this all works, so you can see what goes on behind the scenes. And then I'm also going to show you a video of these three little owls being fed in the first few days of their life, which is a very interesting little video, still when they didn't really have any feathers on and their eyes hadn't even opened yet. So that is what we can look forward to today. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. This coming week we will have interviews with people, some people from Friends of Free Wildlife, and some other experts of wildlife and of birds. So stay tuned for the other streams this week on Thursday and Saturday. If this is your first time here, I'll just quickly explain what I'm doing. I'm streaming from northern Johannesburg in South Africa. And these little owls that you're watching now were rescued and rehabilitated by an organization called Friends of Free Wildlife. They're a community-based, public-funded volunteer organization that provides care for urban wildlife, so in the city of Johannesburg and surrounding areas. As I said, they are public-funded, and so they rely on you and me, the public, to keep them going and to make sure that urban wildlife is kept safe. So please consider donating to Friends of Free Wildlife. Any contribution would be truly appreciated. I have put a link in the description of the stream, so you can follow that link to go and donate, or to just go and look at the Friends of Free Wildlife website, their Facebook page, their Instagram page, etc. Their Facebook page is very active. They have about 10,000 people on there, so please go do like them on Facebook and follow them. If you are planning on making a donation, I ask you that you'd please put the reference as the Bundu Basher or Bundu Basher. The reason for that is because we just want to keep tabs on where donations are coming from and how many donations come from this stream. And I just want to clarify that those donations do not come to me. I'm not getting any of that. That donation goes directly to Friends of Free Wildlife and to their operation and to their rescue, rehabilitation and release programs. So yes, please look at that. There is also the Bundu Basher Facebook page in the description below, and the Instagram page, so you can stay up to date with what's happening. Great. So I'm gonna basically leave you guys to watch these little owls. If you have any comments or questions, please pop them in the chat and I'll try and respond to them. Again, I've got a few things coming up, like feeding, like watching a video of these guys when they're a few days old, and just to show you my setup here. So that's going to come later on in the stream. In the meantime, enjoy. They are quite active this afternoon, as you can see one of them preening himself there. they are quite active. They've been threatening to get out the box. Actually, they've been kind of looking around the corner of that entrance, and it could be that they're getting a bit restless. Oh. Yeah, I'm nearly done. That's a goose or a duck, I don't know, but he's very vocal. And he's still going. It's actually quite nice to have these noises in the background. Just reminds you that you are in a very natural area. But yes, we are going to watch these little guys. As I said, they are quite restless at the moment. They might be a little bit hungry, so that'll be good. Hopefully, when I do feed them in the next few minutes, they will be feeding in front of us. And yeah, I'm being interrupted by these guys again, so I'll leave you to watch the owls. So as you can see, they're getting quite restless. So I'm gonna go feed them now. I really do hope I don't get bitten, because they have been getting more bold coming closer to the door. But I'm gonna wear a glove, and I'm gonna throw in today, which is the food is a couple of mice. They are not live mice, just so you know. But that is what they're going to be eating today. I'm hoping we can watch them eat. And I'm also hoping I don't get bitten or pecked, because that might be quite painful. You will notice, as I've said in the previous stream, they get very defensive when someone comes close to the box. They start moving from side to side. They make a hissing sound and a clicking sound with their beak. Sadly, I do not have audio fixed yet on my camera up there, so I cannot get that audio, but I am planning on actually taking a little video of that so you can get that sound and experience what that actually looks like and sounds like. In the meantime, I am going to feed them some mice, and hopefully we'll see them eating. Look at this, isn't this fantastic? They certainly were hungry, and now we get the opportunity to actually watch them feed. For some reason they seem to prefer the lighter colored mice. I'm not sure why that is. Don't know if anyone would be able to tell me why that is, but they didn't really flinch when the darker colored mice went in. But now with the lighter colored mice, they all seem to have taken one of those. So yeah, this is really awesome. I nearly got nipped there. Had to use a stick to kind of push the mice in. Wow. Let's just enjoy watching them feed. I will also just explain the reason we only have a small window of view here is because a barn owl box like this needs to be quite closed, and that little window has got to be very small, because when they're young they are threatened by bigger owls or other birds of prey, crows as well, that could come into that box and kill one of them. At this size, they can defend themselves a little better, as you just saw. But the reason we can't get a full field of view of the entire box is because we have to keep that window very small to protect the owls. So if we do miss some stuff, that would be sad, but it does look like we're going to get some great stuff. Of course, it's just our luck that the 2 out of the 3 owls that are actually feeding currently are in the corners, out of view, which is a bit frustrating. Hopefully this one in the middle starts to feed, but sadly the other 2 have decided to go into the dark corners to feed. We're going to have to watch this little guy and see what what he does. Well, isn't this awesome, actually watching these owls feeding? You'll notice that their beaks aren't as strong as other raptors. They have to do a lot of pulling to get chunks of meat off of that mouse. And if you were to watch a different kind of raptor, other than an owl eating something, it would make much quicker work of that mouse, because its beak is made to tear flesh, whereas an owl's beak is not as equipped to do that. They prefer to tear off bigger chunks and swallow bigger chunks, as you're seeing there, whereas other raptors can tear that apart a lot easier. Thanks, Daniel and Kaylee, for your comments. Yeah, I guess it can be quite a graphic thing to watch, a mouse that is being eaten. But this is part of nature, and wow, the piece is coming out of there now. It is part of nature, and this is how it goes. We have been lucky enough to join with Friends of Free Wildlife that they could take these owls, save them, rescue them, rehabilitate them, and this is part of the rehabilitation process. So they need to be fed because they cannot look after themselves. And very soon they will be able to look after themselves, and so they will be able to go out and hunt for themselves, and this will happen out in the wild as well. So I think it's good for people to know how this all works, and I'm glad we've had the opportunity to see it. I thought for a moment maybe we would have had that owl eating right in front of us, but unfortunately it didn't happen. The temperature has dropped quite substantially where I am, so I've got my huge jacket on to make me look like a marshmallow. And let's see if this guy eats in front of us now. Well, that was awesome. It seemed the one at the back kind of took a pounce at his mouse, almost practicing to kind of kill it, even though it is already killed. Very interesting behavior. Perhaps just preparing for what it would be like out in the real world. Pouncing on it with their talons, those big claws that they have, which are incredibly strong and incredibly sharp. And hopefully these guys will be moving out in the next few days and weeks. There are 4 new barn owls that have been rescued by Friends of Free Wildlife, which are currently at that center right now. And so if these guys do fly away and decide that they don't want to stay here anymore, then we will start following those owls. So we will continue with the live streams as long as we can. Thank you for your comments, everyone. Louise, they really are beautiful, aren't they? It's actually great that they're so active, that we get to see them so active. They are actually nocturnal birds, so they are active at night, not during the day. During the day, they usually sleep. Of course, we need to feed them during the day, and so that's why we get to see them in action. And I'm hoping that that little mouse in the frame right now gets eaten right there. That would be good to see. But you can see that owl at the back now is preening. As I've mentioned before, is just a way of rearranging the feathers to put them back into a comfortable kind of structure. And so that bird is that's what you're seeing at the moment. You're seeing the feathers all being rearranged back into their correct positions. It is very cold today. It was 4 degrees about an hour ago. It's now slightly warmer, and the sun is actually starting to come out right now. But you will see that they puff up a lot more when the weather is cold. And so when they do puff up like that, their feathers kind of do end up being in the wrong positions, and they don't feel comfortable. So they preen like this to rearrange their feathers, and also just to remove any dirt or anything that may have crawled in there. And so that's why you see that this bird doing that. Thank you, Alistair and John Paul, for your comments. And it really is a privilege to watch these guys. Without Friends of Free Wildlife, these birds would have been dead. They would not have survived. And so we're really grateful that we can see them doing well, rehabilitated, and soon to be, released and allowed to go out on their own and survive in the urban wild environment. Just have a few birds flying overhead at the moment. What I do want to show you is what these birds looked like when they first came to Friends of Free Wildlife. When barn owl chicks are born, they are completely helpless. They cannot feed, their eyes are closed, so they're born blind, they have no feathers. And so they are desperate for their parents' love and care. And I have a very cool video from Friends of Free Wildlife just showing what it was like in the first few days of these owls' lives, what it was like to feed them. You'll see their eyes are still closed, they cannot see, and they're hissing, which is just their way of communication. Of course, because they can't see each other, the only thing they have is hearing each other and the sense of touch. And so, yeah, I'll show you that in a minute. I do just want to see if this owl actually goes for this mouse. He seems to be weighing it up. But in a few minutes, once we've seen what this owl does, I'll show you that video of what they looked like before they had feathers and before they could see. and what they looked like when they were feeding. So it seems that mouse is not going to be eaten in the next little while. So I'm going to show you the video of them feeding when they were only days old. Enjoy!
I think he might be full now. I think you're getting pretty full now.
So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of how completely helpless they are when they're young, when they're that young. They definitely don't look as pretty as they do now in that video, but it just shows you that these birds would have died if it weren't for Friends of Free Wildlife saving them and feeding them just like they did in that video. So we've seen them feed a few days old, and now we get to watch them feed at this age. Of course, this is a little bit more graphic, but I think it's good to watch. Another very interesting thing about preening, which is what we saw a little bit earlier of the birds kind of rearranging its feathers. There is something called a preen gland lower down near its tail, and that gland secretes a substance that the birds then spread around their feathers, and that substance is in fact waterproofing their feathers. So obviously they sometimes will have to fly in the rain, or sit in the rain, or stand in the rain, and that preen gland is there to allow these birds to waterproof themselves. It's the same as us putting on a rain jacket, and so that's also what preening is there for. Of course, these birds haven't really ventured out into the rain just as yet, even though today it has rained, but winter in Johannesburg doesn't bring much rain, and so they haven't necessarily needed the secretion of that substance, that oil, to waterproof their feathers, because they're not going out. There's a big fight going on behind me with the ducks and the geese. So yes, that is quite an interesting thing, that they preen themselves with that oil. It also helps with the removal of dust and dirt and stuff like that, but also very interesting. As you can see now, they've had their fill, it seems, and because it is daytime, they are usually sleeping at this time. They're nocturnal birds, as I've said, and so they may just doze off. You'll notice that the one bird in the frame at the moment is standing on one leg. As I had mentioned before in the previous stream, they stand on one leg because they want to relieve the strain on that leg. They want to stretch it out and shift the weight onto the other one. You may see that this owl stays like this for a few minutes and then decides he wants to rest the leg he's currently on, and he'll switch them. So that is why we're seeing what seems to be a one-legged owl. In fact, it's two legs, and his one leg is tucked up into his feathers on his belly. If you're still watching, thank you very much for being here. Just wanted to remind you, if you do have any questions or anything you'd like to know about these owls or about Friends of Free Wildlife or the Bundu Basher, please do put those in the comments, and I'll get back to you. You've got about 50 minutes left of the stream, and they were very active earlier. I still have a video coming to show you the setup of everything I have here, so I'm going to show that in a little while. In the meantime, just watch this little guy sleep on his one leg. thank you to those who are still with us. Not much action happening with these little guys. If you do have any questions, please pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to show you now what my setup here looks like, just so you get an idea of where I am and how I'm streaming to you right now. As I said, I'm in an area in northern Johannesburg in South Africa, and there's a lot of urban wildlife in this area. Lots of owls and other raptors, mongoose and squirrels you can find here. There have even been jackal spotted here, so it's a great area, and that's why these birds are out here. It's a really vibrant urban wildlife area. But yeah, I'm going to show you now the setup that I have here, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so to start off with, this is what is right by me. A beautiful pond with ducks and geese. And then this is my little setup that I've made for the day. It is rain-proof with that umbrella up at the top there. I have my laptop underneath the umbrella and some other things under cover over here. My little table. You can see my power is all plugged in over there underneath this little stool. I then have a HDMI cable that runs under through there. You can see the cable coiled up there, and that runs all the way up into the tree. You can see that is the owl box up there. I've put another umbrella up there, and my camera and my light are right up there. You can just see the camera on top of a makeshift little mount, which is my camera is mounted to an ice cream tub, and so that's where I have to go and fix the camera, etc. I'll just go up there and show you what it looks like looking down. So this is the camera, and that is my little light, which I end up facing towards the owl box, which is right there. This little structure is just to keep them inside, keep them safe, and they are inside there right now. And just to show you, that's where the cables all go, running down the ladder, which I'm on now, to my little where I'm streaming from. So that's my setup. So that just gives you an idea of the little setup I've got here. That is a typical barn owl box, just a very small door for them to come in and out of. Also prevents bigger birds of prey coming in and killing baby barn owls within the box. And that's why the window we have is so small to watch these birds. I am hoping to have a box made that has removable panels, so we can remove those panels to watch the birds, but that is still in process. So for the time being, this is what we have. And yeah, if you're still with us, thank you for being here. If you want to just leave this on in the background of whatever you're doing, go ahead, and we'll see you in a bit. it's very interesting to see all the feathers in the wing of an owl. As I mentioned in a previous stream, they have feathers and wing structure that is designed to create silent flight, so that when they are flying through the air, it's absolutely silent, and that gives them an edge over their prey, because their prey won't know that the bird is flying towards them to attack them. And you'll see he's just rearranging all his feathers there. It's incredible how that design works, that it's so well made that their flight is almost silent, almost completely silent. You wouldn't hear an owl flying overhead like you would many other birds. So it's very interesting to know that kind of thing, and to know that in the wild, if you hear a bird flying overhead, chances of it being an owl are almost zero. So that's something new, you know. If you are just tuning in, or you have been tuned in and you're not subscribed to the Bundu Basher, I'd really appreciate it if you went and clicked the subscribe button and click that little notifications bell next to that, so you get all my new videos coming out. I have a whole bunch of videos on my channel that you might be interested in as well, wildlife videos. So if you are here, please do go and subscribe. There's also a link to my Facebook page, a link to my Instagram page. And also this is being done through Friends of Free Wildlife, an organization I've mentioned many times. Oh, and we've got this guy who's going to decide to eat this mouse, hopefully right in front of us. Oh, he's just moving off into the corner. As I was saying, we are here because of Friends of Free Wildlife, so thank you for having me, and I'll just wait for the helicopter. And Friends of Free Wildlife rely on donations to keep going. They rescue, rehabilitate and release animals into the wild. They're not a zoo, they do not breed animals. And so I think it'd be a very good organization for you and I to support. Their website is in the description below this video, as well as their Facebook page and their Instagram profile. And there will be a link there. There is a link there now for you to donate. Any donation would be truly appreciated. So if you do have something to give, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, look out on their website. They are often taking in volunteers. And so if you want to get involved in that way, that is a possibility. Of course, with lockdown and things like that at the moment, it may not be necessarily possible too soon, but it is something that you can get involved in future. Sadly, all the owls seem to have moved to the corners of the box, so we aren't seeing them at the moment. But I guess that is what we've got, and we only have that little window to watch these guys, as I've mentioned today. And yeah, if you just leave this on in the background, just as background noise while you cook or while you read a book or whatever, it's a nice way to spend an afternoon. Thanks to those of you who are still around. Just saying hello to Dave Jones and Daniel Zazweta. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We've got about 20 minutes left of the stream. So, welcome to leave it on in the background or whatever you're doing. Sadly, they're sticking to their dark corners. Probably sleeping. As you've probably noticed, owls sleep standing up. They don't actually lie down to sleep. They sleep standing up, and as you've also probably seen, often on one leg when they're getting tired in both of their legs, they'll rest one at a time. So at the moment we've got 3 sleeping owls out of view. One of them's awake there, preening himself. But yep, thank you for being here. And to answer Dave Jones's question, don't they use pillows to sleep? They don't use pillows to sleep? No, they don't. We were going to put a whole bunch of pillows in there, but we just thought maybe that wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be wild. And so, no, they don't use pillows. He's having a nice big stretch there of his leg. And then putting it back up to rest it again. Yeah, they unfortunately don't have the luxury of beds and pillows. They just sleep standing up. Dave's asking, what about a little duvet? Unfortunately, no duvets, but they have nature's duvet. Nature's duvet is the grass they have there as nesting material below them to keep them warm. Nature's duvet. Barn owl duvet. Got a comment from Pierre Fenter saying, are you able to maybe preen yourself, please? Looking scruffy like the owls. In fact, Pierre, this is me looking at my best. You should see me when I wake up in the morning. It's an absolute disaster. So you're seeing the good side of Mark right now. And yeah, even if I were to preen myself, nothing much would change. I think you can tell this stream is kind of getting to the end when people start throwing dad jokes or puns into the comments section. Thank you, Daniel Zazweta, for that one. There's a quality owl pun in the comments by John Tatham. Runs in the family. I wonder how many owl puns we can get into these comments in the next 5 minutes before the stream ends. Let's see. Well, we're slowly coming to the end of our stream today. We're coming to the end of our stream today. We've learned a number of things about owls, and also about owl puns, and the fact that owl puns are incredibly difficult to make. But thank you all for watching today. Thank you for your comments. It's been great. Again, please subscribe to the Bundu Basher, click the notifications bell. Please donate to Friends of Free Wildlife. Once I'm finished speaking, I'm going to put up on the screen the details for you to donate to Friends of Free Wildlife. And I just appreciate you watching these streams. I personally am hoping to monetize my YouTube channel eventually, and one of the things I need for that to happen is watch hours. So even if you just put this stream on in the background while you clean or cook or read a book or hang with your friends or your family, that would be great. And also it's a nice thing to have in the background to watch these beautiful creatures. So yeah, thank you very much for all tuning in today. I will be live again on Thursday at exactly the same time, 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That is South African time. So if you're interested, please do tune in again. And we are planning on in the future to move to another group of owls, and hopefully that will be in a box where we can view them better, where there is a bigger window for us to view them, while also making sure they are safe from predators. So yes, thank you very much for there's one more pun to end off the stream there from Dave Jones. Thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it, and I will see you on Tuesday afternoon at 2 p.m. Thanks. Cheers.